So yeah, this is very similar to an app called Notion, probably many of you use. Looks like Notion raised $275 in 2021. 10 billion, sick. Oh, 10 billion valuation, holy moly. Whew, how do you like me now? Notion doesn't ship that slowly. They shipped AI like very, very quickly. Sequoia, Co2, the usual suspects. I mean, they didn't raise that much money, right? 275 on 10 billion. That'll be a down round. Shine Capital. Never heard of Shine Capital, but there you go. When did they do this deal? That was the top of the market, right? October 8th, 2021. Pretty much the top. Let's see where their Series B came out. 2 billion. Whoa, so in 1 year the valuation went up 5x. Will Smith? Damn. I didn't know Will Smith did tech investing. Sick. Dude, they've diluted like almost nothing. Like, look at this Series B. Do you see this, guys? They raised 50 million at 2 billion. So that means that some of you may not know this. I'm sorry if I have to belabor this. Let me use my trusty Microsoft Paint. Dark mode. That's when I fill with black. So pre-money valuation. So this is a concept in venture investing that basically means what is the company worth before the new investors. Does that make sense? So if you and I decided we're going to start a company, let's call it Nibbles Co. Nibbles and Company, there we go. And we just agree that, okay, we own it 50-50. And we want to sell 1% of Nibbles Co. for $10 million. That means the 99%, right, if each 1% is worth 10 million, the other 99% would be 990 million, right? So a total of 1 billion. So we could say the pre-money for Nibbles Co. is 1 billion. Now I don't think anybody would put money in that because Nibbles Co. isn't a really exciting company. But for Notion, they said the pre-money would be 2 billion. Okay? And then they raised 50 million. So the post-money is 2 billion plus 50 million, which is 2.05 billion, right? So now the old investors own 2.00 divided by 2.05. Calculate that. 2 divided by 2.05 is 97.6%. The new investors own the rest, right? 0.05 divided by 2.05, just 2.4%. So this is very little dilution, right? If you started this company 50-50, right, you only lost 2.5% of the company to the new investors. And of course you got the 50 million in your bank account, which you could do a lot with. So that's kind of the idea. Let's see if I can get dark mode for the whole screen. All right. So the other thing they did was they did the Series C Same idea, where they sold $275 million at 10 billion, a whopping 10 billion pre-money. So 10.275 billion post-money. Old investors own 10 divided by 10.275, which is 97.3%. New investors own 2.7%, right? So they went through both funding rounds and only gave up 2.5% and then 2.7%. So the founders of this company must own, if you ignore the Series A, which we can't ignore, they might own still up to 40%, right? So if there were two co-founders, which I'm not even saying that there are, but just the founders alone would be 95%, investors 5%. Isn't that crazy? We don't know who those founders are. There could be 5 of them, 10 of them, or there could just be one of them. And that person owns 95%, or that group of people, of a $10 billion company. So they're worth about $9 billion. That's the promise of tech. But we haven't looked at the Series A yet, and that's where a lot of the valuation sometimes, a lot of the dilution happens. Okay, so not in this case. So they raised 18 million at an 800 million pre-money. So that's only another 2 or 3% dilution. This company has done amazing. And look at these investors. They are now up 10x, right? In just 2 years. They're up, or 3 years, they're up 10x. We've got a couple of venture firms, but also people like Elad Gil, who's a very famous investor, Daniel Gross, and a few others. Let's see, let me click and see them all. A couple of smaller venture firms. So amazing how well Notion has done. Let's look at the seed round or angel round. Let's see, the angel round was, Sequoia was in there. A couple of different VCs, Silicon Valley Angels, First Round Capital, and we don't have a valuation there, so that valuation could have been maybe more dilutive. But again, only raised, it's not even clear what they raised, if any, what they raised at all. And there was only one investor in the seed round. So my guess is the founders of this company are mega billionaires. We got Akshay Kathari, Madhu Kumar. I messed that one up. Who's the CEO? Oh, Ivan Zhao. Usually Ivan is a Russian name, right? Ivan Zhao, multi-zillionaire now. Just kind of came out of nowhere. And interesting, they founded the company in 2013, it looks like, so it's not been an overnight success. Here he is on Twitter, 34K followers. CTO Simon Last. Pretty incredible, huh?
COO of Notion. So Notion is a productivity software company, and what we're trying to do is essentially provide you one simple medium where you can essentially do all your work, everything from...
Sorry, I just wanted to check that founder date. Notion founded 2012. I don't know if that's the same. Notion Labs, yeah. 2013, okay.
Note-taking to have a knowledge base for a company, managing your projects, all in a single medium. We've done this by giving people building blocks for what these apps are built from. Before this, I was at LinkedIn for many years when they acquired my previous startup, Pulse. I'm excited to chat with you today. I was really good at math and physics, and I studied electrical engineering when I came to the US. And I actually did a lot of engineering internships. It turns out that I didn't enjoy it that much. I found the engineering work to be a bit too sort of granular. I haven't really coded in a long time. I'm much more interested in product and business and the intersection of that. I wanted to sort of take a step back and think about maybe more larger, higher level sort of product business things that I could be working on.
Some people, one person, Cassie, is saying Notion is negative productivity. That's really funny. I personally don't like Notion, don't use it. I get it. It's not bad, I think. It's just not my cup of tea. It's kind of cool because you can kind of create like a fairly rich document that's very easy to share, but it's somewhere between like Microsoft Word or Google Docs and like HTML. That's kind of what makes it decent, I think.
In between my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, I spent a year in venture capital. That's actually for me was a very important year because I got to meet a lot of entrepreneurs. After hearing the pitches for about a year, I realized that I wanted to be on the other side and not hearing the pitches as an investor, but actually wanting to start something of my own. That took me to Stanford. So I went to Stanford for 2 years. Every quarter I tried to start a company. Many of them failed, but in my last quarter I started Pulse, which was essentially a news application built for the iPad back in 2010. We built this as a class project at Stanford. We built this pretty fast. We had to, I think the whole class was 11 weeks, so we built this sort of hacked up version of Pulse in about 6 weeks. And we sort of put it out in the App Store, not sure how it would do. In a couple of weeks,
Yeah, really interesting to see some of these really successful startups, Notion, Rippling, Flexport, Stripe, a bunch of these kind of like super startups that are actually doing really well, make money, some of those companies I mentioned.